share, recipe share. Share a little recipe with Recipe Share. Recipe Share, Recipe Share. Share a little recipe with Recipe Share.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for this episode of Recipe Share, a program on AADL TV where we take a few minutes to talk about recipes in a featured category. Today's category is Farmers Market Finds. I'm Elizabeth, and as usual, I'm joined today by Beth and Katie to tell us about their recipes. So, Katie, tell us about your recipe.
Okay, I sure will. I'm going to talk a little bit about the farmers market really quickly. The farmers market that I went to was the West Side Farmers Market. It's closed now for the season, but it's usually in the parking lot of Zingerman's Roadhouse in the West Side Shopping Market, and it's really close to my house, and I don't go there enough. I had a really good time when I went there, and actually my very favorite thing that I found at the farmers market is not edible, but I do want to show you that I found this beautiful little plant. This is a teddy bear paw cactus, and it's so cute. And the booth that I got this at is called The Planted Life, and it's a pop-up that happens all over Washtenaw County. It's locally owned business, and she just has the cutest plants and accessories. And you can find her pop-up schedule on Instagram at @theplanted_life. And I definitely suggest it. It's just the cutest little stand, and she's a great person to talk to as well. So that all said, now I'm going to tell you about my recipe. When I was at the farmer's market, I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I ended up coming home with a bunch of Bartlett pears and Honeycrisp apples. So I made some applesauce and I baked some of the pears, which was not really successful, but ultimately ended up finding this recipe that I really, really enjoyed. It's apple, pear, and walnut salad. And it's from thefoodnetwork.com, courtesy of Sunny Anderson. And what you do is you take red wine vinegar, orange juice, orange zest, and raisins. You put those in a bowl to soak, and you whisk them all together. And then you core and cut up your apples and pears into chunks like that. And once you've got that all done, you mix it in with everything else and you let it sit for an hour to let all those flavors meld together. And then it's just this really amazingly delicious salad. I was super surprised by how the orange flavor came out and really added a lot of sweetness to it without having to add so much sugar or other things that you might consider would be in a salad like this. One thing that I did was I took it a little bit savory and put some blue cheese crumbles on top of it, which was really good. I've recently found out that I'm going to be hosting a small Thanksgiving gathering, and I think I'm going to make this again and take it to the sweet side of things, put it on top of some vanilla ice cream with some caramel sauce, and I think it'll make a nice little like apple pie sundae alternative to apple pie, because I will already have way too much stuff going on to be making pie. So yeah, that was it. Really simple and fresh and delicious from the farmer's market ingredients.
Very good.
Yeah.
Was it only vinegar, did you say? I might have.
Red wine vinegar and orange juice are your liquids.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know what? There's some olive oil added at the end. I missed that. You're right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I was interested in that too, because I was like, wow, that's a lot of like the more, I forget the word, but how the vinegary stuff. I'm like, I wonder what the balance is. Okay, so there is a little bit of olive oil.
Yep.
That sounds really good. Does the fruit get soft at all, or does it maintain its crunch?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I really wanted to eat this the next day. I made enough so that I could just eat it for a couple of days, and the pears got really mushy, and so it was not good the next day. So if I were going to make this again and I wanted it to last a couple of days, I would just leave the pears out and just use apples. And that I think would leave it a little, that crispy texture to it. So yeah, absolutely right. All right. Well, Beth, tell us about your farmers market finds.
Okay, that was hard for me to choose one thing because we kept getting a lot of the same stuff from our CSA and what we saw at the farmers market. But anyway, that said, my husband had made the salad. It's an elote salad. It was so good that I made it too, just to make sure. I wanted to share the recipe, and it was delicious. It's like the idea of the roasted Mexican corn flavors in the salad. So it called for 6 ears of sweet corn, and we had gotten so much corn that my husband started just, taking it off the husk. So I already had it husked. And then you roast it for, I don't know, 30 to 40 minutes. So it gets nice and caramelized and somewhat even crunchy in some ways. It also called for cojita or cotija cheese or feta cheese. And the first time Kurt made it, both times we used feta. And it was very, very good. What else? Garlic, cloves, cilantro. When I made it, I didn't have cilantro, so I had parsley. It calls for 2 tablespoons of canned diced green chilies. And we, again, had a lot of jalapenos from our garden and from our CSA. So I used fresh jalapenos. I don't think I put in 2 tablespoons. I probably just put in two peppers. And then a couple tablespoons of mayo, a couple tablespoons of sour cream. Well, and we at the time did not have sour cream, so it was Greek yogurt. And then some chili powder, cayenne, and some kosher salt. You mix that up after it's been roasted, the corn, throw it all together. And that's I feel like there was onion. Yes, red onion too. Mm-hmm. So good, you guys. I will definitely make this again, just with frozen corn and roast it. I think it will really taste, like summer throughout the year if you make it. So also, sorry, it came from Fox's Love Lemons.
Okay, so my question for you is, once you take the corn off of the husks, do you freeze it or do you just keep it in the refrigerator?
We have been freezing it, but in that case, we had it in the fridge. Also, I should say we do boil it first. So we're not taking it off raw. So it's boiled,
okay,
and then cooked just like we were going to eat corn on the cob, and then it's cut off. So that's why I believe you could use the frozen corn, because you could just cook it and then roast it.
And so when you roast it, are you spreading it out on a baking sheet?
Nope.
Okay. And did you drizzle it with anything, or can you just roast it as is?
No, you just roast it. You spray your pan and then roast it. It did, like I said, parts of it were crunchy, but I liked the texture and also that roasted taste, of kind of like popcorn. It was good.
Yeah, I love elotes. It sounds absolutely delicious. Because my complaint with elotes that are like, sometimes that you get it and the corn's on the cob, but then all the like awesome stuff falls off and I'm like bummed. So this is a great way you can just scoop it all up. So
definitely. Yeah, it's even good on chips too. I mean, you could eat it as a salad or, however. So yeah. So and if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to ask Elizabeth, what did you find at the farmers market?
Sure. So this is a little boring, but there's some reasoning behind it. So I wanted to grow garlic this coming year. And I found out that most of the garlic that you buy at the supermarket is actually treated with a particular chemical or compound or something so that it doesn't sprout, so that it lasts longer and can be transported. So you can't actually typically grow the garlic that you buy just at the like conventional grocery store. So I went to the farmer's market to buy some garlic with the intention of planting some of it. But then I also wanted to try it because I'd heard that there's just a different taste a little bit of garlic that's been recently harvested and that hasn't been treated with this compound. So I picked up a bunch of cloves of garlic or a bunch of heads of garlic and saved a couple to do some planting. But I ended up making a garlic chicken recipe that was really good. You take some chicken thighs, you kind of quickly sear them. Oh, first you rub them with a spice mixture, which is like chili powder, cumin, thyme, sage, and salt and pepper. You rub them, you sear them on both. And then you add a little bit of white wine and cook it down. And then you add some Parmesan, some whole milk, and a can of chickpeas. And then put the chicken back in, oh, and some chicken stock. Put the chicken back in. At this point, it's like almost covered by the liquid. And then you slice up some fresh sage and you pull some fresh thyme and you just kind of sprinkle it on, put it in the oven for 35 minutes, and the sauce kind of reduces. The chicken gets like so moist and delicious. And then I served it over some orzo because that was the suggested thing. And oh, and the last thing is you put a whole head of garlic in the middle of the chicken so that that gets really roasted. And then you squeeze out the cloves into the sauce at the end and kind of mash them around. So sorry, that wasn't a great explanation, but it's very delicious. It's one pot. You just use this one skillet. It takes a little longer. The whole thing takes about an hour. So really nice for like a Sunday dinner. And the sauce and the chicken were so flavorful, really, really garlicky. I love garlic, so it was great. One of the suggestions in the recipe was if you wanted to, you could squeeze some of the cloves from the head that was roasted in the middle onto a piece of bread, and like that would be really yummy too. I have a photo here of what it looks like when it comes right out of the oven, and it was, I thought, very nice looking. And yeah, it was super good and just really great. I think I'm going to continue to make it this winter because it was just kind of warming and comforting and also really filling between the chickpeas and the chicken. Like it was just like kind of substantial. I actually probably would skip the orzo next time. That was just kind of an unnecessary component. So it was great, super garlicky, super herby, and really delicious.
Yeah, that does sound really, really good. Do the chickpeas, do they break down so it gets like hummusy, or do they stay pretty much intact?
So they actually stayed intact. So I mean, the sauce does reduce, so it is a little kind of thicker. But it really isn't like, it's not like you can still like scoop it with this, like it's not thick. The chickpeas stayed intact, but just kind of also absorbed some flavor, and that was really nice.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I don't think I've ever tried anything like that. It sounds really good.
Yeah. Yeah, that is delicious sounding. A whole head.
Yep, in the middle, and then you kind of squeeze out at the end the cloves and mash them into the sauce. And I mean, for someone who loves garlic, it was great.
Sounds good. Do you slice the tips of the?
Yeah,
the
you
head?
slice the tip. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
then yep.
Yeah.
And the recipe was from Serving Dumplings, which is a blog that I like. So yeah.
I bet your house smelled delicious.
Smelled so good, and the herbs too were just like, it was awesome.
Very nice.
Cool. Well, if there are no more comments, I will just thank everyone for watching Recipe Share. Be sure to click the link below to look at the event page on aadl.org to find the recipes that we talked about, and feel free to share your own in the comments. Join us next time. We'll be talking about no-bake desserts. We're looking forward to seeing what you've been making, so thanks for sharing.
share, recipe share, share a little